What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian, as we continue to sift through the Boston Celtics NBA offseason, which started off with like fireworks, but then you know how like sometimes the barge explodes and then we read about that on the news? That's what the second half of free agency has felt like as Boston has got going this offseason. But before we dive into potential moves, the East going crazy, a new signing, do me a favor. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know the next time we're dropping that sweet Celtics content. It also helps the algorithm of my heart, makes me feel good. So hit the subscribe before we get going and you get out of here. Let's go. Sometimes in order to feel good, you need to look at other people's pain. So let's start with that. At least the Boston Celtics are not as desperate as the Milwaukee Bucks. Yesterday started off pretty quiet, and then all of a sudden, the Bucks come out here and take Miles Turner from the team that just went to the NBA Finals, giving him $100 million. Miles Turner takes him and all of his Legos from the state of Indiana up to Wisconsin to play for the Bucks. But the second that happened, I was trying to figure out financially, the Bucks don't have the money to sign a guy like that who's going to make over $100 million. So enter the Brian Windhorst meme. How did they do that? Well, they did it by just straight up cutting Dame Time. Dame Time is now scissors. Damian Lillard has been cut, stretched, and waived off of the Milwaukee Bucks. And now listen, you might be thinking, well, yeah, but the good news is, right, Damian Lillard wasn't playing for the Bucks. Now they get to bring Miles Turner in, somebody who can play for the Bucks. That's fine. But do you want to know what happens when you cut and waive or stretch and waive somebody from your team? So Damian Lillard had 2 years left on his deal plus a player option. So the way this works is that you have to go how many years they have left on their deal, plus or times 2 plus 1. So for the yeah, I think that's right. For the next 5 years, whatever. I think I just did the math wrong. Whatever it is, for the next 5 years, even though Damian Lillard only had 2 years left on his deal, for the next 5 years, the Bucks will be paying Damian Lillard $22 million a year. Even though by that time, Damian Lillard will most certainly be on another NBA team. And the crazy part for Dame, he gets to keep collecting those $22 million checks every single year, but he can go sign with anybody he wants. And it doesn't have to be for like the minimum or anything like that. Dame can just do whatever he wants. So basically, the Milwaukee Bucks, who have one of the best players in the entire league in Giannis Antetokounmpo, have, hamstrung themselves with roster construction from here on out because they will forever, or for the next 5 years, have just this random ass $22 million hit on their books. And that's going to limit what they're able to do as they get deeper into the season. So this is, again, how crazy the Eastern Conference is right now. You have the Boston Celtics, who were the defending champs up till a couple of weeks ago. They seem to be in disarray, which we're about to get into here in a second. You have the Knicks, who still don't have a coach, the 76ers, who are a hospital team. You have the Milwaukee Bucks, who, again, Giannis, Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, bring out the duck boats, right? You've got the Orlando Magic, who've gone all in. The team that was just in the NBA Finals, they no longer have their star player for a year because of an Achilles injury, and shout out Jason Tatum. And now they've gotten rid of their center, who was the longest-standing Indiana Pacer. It's just an insane situation right now in the Eastern Conference, where everybody feels like they have a shot, even if you're just going to phantom pay somebody $22 million for the next 5 years. So listen, though things might feel a little bleak right now, Celtics Nation, at least we're not just paying people that aren't going to play for the next 5 years on our team, because that is crazy. It is just crazy stuff. The Bucks are super desperate. And I mean, man, imagine if Giannis does, like, if they get off to a slow start, right? Giannis is going to be like, hey, can you guys get me out of here? Imagine if he does that. You make this desperation move, and then Giannis could still call for a trade, which, again, I'm not saying that's what I'm looking for here, but the Celtics being in the situation they are, where they're just, they've got a couple of contracts, keeping the books relatively clean. Sure, it might not look sexy right now, but when the time is ready to strike, when Tatum has healed and is ready to come back, the Celtics will be able to still have the contracts and flexibility to actually make a move for a disgruntled Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? That's the only way I'll be happy if they get rid of Jaylen Brown. And Giannis has to come with it. Giannis has to come with it. All right, let's go deeper into free agency. Al Horford, our best bet right now, if you are an Al Horford fan and you want him to stay in Boston, Our best bet is Udonis Haslem. We need Al Horford, and for those that don't know, Udonis Haslem, I don't know, felt like he was 65 there at the end of his career and still had a Miami Heat contract, was basically there as a vet, as like not a mascot, that's disrespectful, but somebody that had been with the organization for a very long time through the good times and the bad times and was there to help these young guys acclimate to the NBA, right? The difference is Udonis Haslem was kind of done playing like good, effective, winning basketball. He would only come in the last like 90 seconds of a blowout game. That was what Haslem did. Al can still compete at a high level, as we've seen for the last couple of years. You don't want him playing 82 games a year and then 4 rounds in the playoffs. You don't want him playing 38 minutes a game. However, Al can still stretch the floor. He can still knock down threes. He can still defend at a pretty high level when called upon. And I think he can still play winning basketball. So if Al does not want to do this, I would totally respect it. And I imagine he's about to go out west. And it feels gross to say this, but here are the teams that we're looking at right now. The Knicks actually just got our guy, Gershon Yabusele. They just got Yabusele from Philly, former Celtic legend Yabusele. So he's going to be the Knicks backup pick. I think good for New York. I think that was a good signing. However, the Denver Nuggets, who again made another move yesterday, not just one, but two. Somehow we need the Boston Celtics to do a trade with the Sacramento Kings. Nobody likes eating L's quite like the Kangs. They went out there and they were like, hey, we know Dario Saric doesn't really play anymore, couldn't even crack the Denver Nuggets rotation, and they had zero bench. Sacramento was like, hey, we'll take Saric, you take Jonas Valanciunas. So Denver now has a backup big in Jonas. They also have Tim Hardaway Jr. signed a vet minimum to go play in Denver. He's going to get a lot of wide open threes. That being said, I think the addition of Jonas Valanciunas lowers the likelihood that Al goes to Denver. I thought Denver was going to be a landing spot for him, but now we have to go even further west because the Golden State Warriors, who are in sort of a similar situation as the Celtics in the sense that they have zero bigs. They have Draymond Green. Kevon Looney just signed with the New Orleans Pelicans. They are desperate for another 5. Al Horford makes a ton of sense. He's a very, very high Q ball player, and that's what you need to be to play in that Golden State system. I think he'd make a ton of sense. Give Draymond some break there because you don't want Draymond playing the 5 the entire season. But the other team that has emerged, another Western Conference team that is so freaking desperate to get a center, and it just sucks. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Lakers have like a little bit of money. They basically have $14 million. Now, if I'm Al, I mean, I get it. You like, hey, you want to get some clean looks. You want to play with LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves. I get it. That's like I don't want Al to do that. Listen, I'll be okay if Al leaves. I will. I love Al Horford. Celtic great. Was one of my favorite Celtics in the last 15 years. Just don't play for the Lakers, man. Go to Golden State. Steph Curry, way more likable. But I do think Denver's still on the board. I think Golden State's on the board. And I think the Lakers are on the board. I imagine it's going to be a Western Conference team. I thought the Knicks were going to be there. I don't think we're going to see the Knicks go after him now after getting Yabusele, but we'll have to wait and see what Al decides. We should be finding out soon, but my guess, man, he has to be looking at this Boston Celtics situation in the roster. Unless Brad Stevens is like, hey, you want 5% ownership in the Celtics? Well, please stay with us for a couple more years. Do you want a front office job? I don't know. But my guess, my understanding would be that Al is going to be on a different team next year. Speaking of being on a team next year, a different one, Celtics, breaking news. Celtics got Josh Mano. Josh, we know nothing about him. He is 6'9". He's coming over from Minnesota. He played a little bit less than Luka Garza, who barely played at all. We don't even have G League stats on Josh. We don't even really have college stats on Mano. I guess the good news is he's super young. He's 6'9". He's a wing. Celtics are he's only 22, right? Celtics right now are basically they pulled out a dartboard and they grabbed a bunch of wing darts and are just throwing it. They're like, Jordan Walsh, you got anything? Baylor Shireman, you got anything? Josh Mano, you got anything? Just chucking it. Hugo Gonzalez, you got anything? By the way, Hugo, it's not Hugo. It's not, the H is silent. Hugo Gonzalez, okay? So just in case you're saying it into a camera like me. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is bad. This is bad news. Bad news bears. For anybody in yesterday's video, which we are going to get to your comments in a few minutes here, or in a minute, for anybody that was saying what do you mean a tank? What do you mean a tank? This is what I mean. These are the moves the Celtics are making, and they are still in the tax. They are still, I believe, they just crept up over the second apron with bringing Mano on. So clearly, the Celtics are still planning on shedding some salary. And that's another reason why it just doesn't feel like Al Horford is going to be there. Anthony Simon's still on the table, I think, because that I know it's an expiring contract, but that's still $30 million. Sam Hauser, another $10 million. So clearly, the Celtics are going to be making another move. And I don't think it's going to be a move that's like, let's go. We're back to a number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. I think it's going to be like, let's go. Ping pong ball. 2026 NBA draft. That's what it feels like right now. It hurts. It hurts to say it. Let's get to some of your comments. Maybe that'll. Oh, I forgot to change the cry on there at the end where it says Nick and Aiton at the bottom. Everybody, don't pay attention to that. Here we go. Let's get to some of your comments here. We got 3 of them that we're gonna hit today. Our guy Luis Reyes PR7 LX. Thanks for commenting. He said, tank season is wild to say. Obvious, a quick rebuild and maybe not in the hunt for a ring, but to say we will be the Wizards basically is weird. Here's the thing. You want to know the difference between what the Wizards will be doing and the Celtics will be doing? The Celtics are intentionally putting out a subpar product next year. They are. They're not spending money. They're not putting resources into this season. And you say a quick rebuild. I think a tank is a quick rebuild. I do. And I'm not saying they're going to be as bad as the Wizards, as bad as the Hornets. But if you are a perennial top 2 to 4 team in the Eastern Conference, you're not in the lottery, right? You're always picking in the 20s, in the late 20s, mid 20s. This roster that we're throwing out there right now, guys, we don't have a center. And I'm going to go over some of the prospective free agent centers, but we don't have one. And, we can be all, people are like, Luke Cornett got overpaid. Al Horford is washed, old. Kristaps Porzingis always hurt. That's fine. But we didn't bring anybody in. We didn't bring anybody in to take those spots. So, those guys that we have left, all were being played over, or all were being overplayed by the 3 that we just listed. So we don't have a center. But anyways, ready with the Indiana Pacers are a team that's going to be in flux this year with no Miles Turner, no Halliburton. I think they are somebody to watch. Do they trade off more of those pieces? But let's look at the rest of the Eastern Conference and see tell me when you're taking the Celtics, that roster, over another team that I'm going to list, right? Cleveland Cavaliers, fresh off winning 60-plus games, okay? You got the New York Knicks, who I know we like to make fun of because they still don't have a freaking coach, and we are in the month of July. I'm still taking them over them. The Orlando Magic, right? Already a pretty solid team last year, battled so many injuries. Their glaring weaknesses were finding outside shooting and ball handling, right? They pick up Desmond Bane, who can do both, and then they just got Tyus Jones on a free deal. So Tyus Jones now backup ball handling for the Orlando Magic. I'm going to put them over them. The 76ers, who, listen, you don't know how many games Embiid's going to play. We don't. But I think the current roster construction of the Philadelphia 76ers, where you have Maxey, McCain, they just got Edgecombe, Paul George, whatever he's got left in the tank, Kelly Oubre, I'm Joel Embiid, whatever, right? That team is going to be better than this Boston Celtics team. I'm going to take Giannis Antetokounmpo, Miles Turner, and Kyle Kuzma, and Kevin Porter Jr. They at least have big guys. Who the hell is going to grab a rebound for the Celtics when they play the Milwaukee Bucks? We don't have anybody to cover Giannis. We don't. We're without Tatum, and we're without Grant Williams. We're without Al Horford, right? We have nobody to cover Giannis. So I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks over them. I don't know what the Miami Heat are going to do. I'd probably put the Celtics in the Miami Heat category. And then I'm taking the Atlanta Hawks over them too. I think what the Hawks have done this offseason on paper, again, just on paper, has put them ahead of the Celtics. So, I'm not saying they are going to be the worst team in the league, but if Jaylen Brown had a procedure this offseason, should be ready to go for October, should be ready to go. If the Celtics don't make any other moves to put a winning product out there, there's no reason to rush JB back. You're going to, all of a sudden, JB's going to be like, oh, injury management, rest, knee load management. All of a sudden, Jaylen Brown's not playing till mid-November. He comes back. Oh, Derek White's elbow feels a little funny. What? You know what, Derek? Derek, why don't we get that reevaluated? Let's do an MRI. Oh, Derek's going to come back around Christmas. Peyton Pritchard goes on vacation for a little bit. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they maneuver some stuff to be a bottom tier team. And I'm not like a Wizards, a Hornets, Jazz, but I could see them in the lottery this year. So, and it pains me to say that. I don't want that to be true, but you don't have to believe me. Just watch the Celtics moves that we're seeing right now. Just watch it. All right, here we go. Common sense to me. This is common sense to me. Another comment. He goes, because he hasn't scored a basket in green, nobody has respect for Anthony Simons. He's a Celtics guy. Show some damn respect and overhype him like you do. Hauser, a 7-point per game score. Make it make any type of sense, damn. And I didn't say that incorrectly. That was just written like that. Hey, I think that's fair. I did hype up Anthony Simons a little bit. 20-point per game score on the Portland Trail Blazers. He can get up 8 to 10 threes per game, shooting pretty efficient, right? Like in a 39%, I believe, three-point shooter, or 36% three-point shooter, I think, but on volume. And he plays no defense. I think Anthony Simons is fine. I think he can go score points. But, like, that's not the position we need a ton of help with. I mean, you can't win basketball games with zero bigs. The NBA has changed. We pointed it out yesterday. I mean, Luke Cornett getting $41 million. Miles Turner getting $100+ million. Paul Reed getting like $10+ million. Like Naz Reid, Julius Randle, all getting pretty big deals for the Timberwolves. I do think you need centers right now. It's not like it was 5 years ago where you can get with small ball five. So it's not that I'm anti-Simons, and I would love Anthony Simons to stay on the Celtics roster. But as I pointed out a little while ago, like they got to save more money, and they have to get under both the second and the first apron now, I believe, because I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong on that, so feel free to make fun of me in the chat. But I'm pretty sure the Josh Mano deal put them back over the second apron, so they're gonna have to cut some salaries. So, but I'm not anti-Anthony Simons. I would love to root for him this year. I just think like if you're trying to, Anthony Simons could help a winning team right now. And I don't think the Celtics are going to be a winning team. So, and I will continue to overhype Sammy Hauser because it's a fun name to yell like that. All right, one more comment. Winwood Completus. He said, dude, people are insanely overrating Cornette and his loss. We are okay. So I pointed out some of the center stuff, right, already. What I'm going to do is give you a list of the potential center free agents. Because, like I said, Cornette, $41 million, Porzingis on the Atlanta Hawks, Al Horford probably going to get a payday, right? So if we assume all three of those guys are gone. We know we have Xavier Tillman. We know we have the Portuguese Prince, Neemias Queta. I'm not going to count Luka Garza. I'm not. I can't. Here are some of the other bigs that are available. DeAndre Ayton, who we assume is going to get around $14 million. I don't think he's coming to Boston. I think he's going to go to a place where he can showcase and try to get a bag. Lakers still make a ton of sense. So DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley III, Mo Bamba, Charles Bassey, Bismack Biyombo, Moses Brown, Taj, I'm 85 Gibson, Jackson Hayes, DeAndre, I'm also 55 Jordan. This is what we're looking at right now. Like even Sandro Mamukelashvili, I don't know. He signed with the Toronto Raptors. Even he got a deal. It's just Mo Wagner, I think, is somewhat kind of interesting. He opted out of his deal with Orlando, so he's technically available. I don't know if he wants to go to that kind of situation in Boston, but those are the types of bigs that are left. So even if you're like, we shouldn't pay Luke Cornett $41 million, which, by the way, I agree with you. This current Celtics roster should not be overpaying Luke Cornett like that. But we don't have anybody better than Luke. Even if you don't think Luke Cornett's very productive, that he should be a starter, we don't have anybody better than Luke Cornett. And that is the list of guys that are available left unless the Celtics make a trade. And I don't see them giving up any major assets to just get like a starting center back. Not with this team. So I don't know. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where you disagree. I do want to say too, I love the comments. The comments have been hopping. Even when you're making fun of me, I'm into it. I appreciate it. There's been a lot of thoughtful stuff. I enjoyed this part of the video where we get to go back and forth on some of the stuff that you dropped. So keep the comments coming. If you made it through all 20 minutes of this without subscribing to the channel yet, respect. But go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with, I don't know, maybe I'll go to bed early tonight. I'll get some rest. Maybe I'll do some yoga or something, and I'll come in with a fresher, more positive glass half full vibe tomorrow, okay? I will do that for you. But I appreciate you tuning in to Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian. Hit the subscribe on the way out. We'll see you next time.